goodness. Happy Sabbath, everyone. Every time I stand up here, my heart is just pounding like crazy. But I enjoy telling this story, so I hope that the big kids out there enjoy it as much as the little kids here. And actually, some of you have probably heard it. I've told this story a couple of times, but as the kids grow and change, we have new kids to hear the story, but you guys may have already heard it. So this is a story about my trip to Egypt. I was there in 2006, so it's been a couple of years now. And when you think of Egypt, what kinds of landmarks come to mind? The pyramids, camels, desert, what? Mount Sinai, that's right. And Mount Sinai is a little bit away from the city. So my friend Evelyn and I were there, and we were staying in Cairo, but we took an overnight trip to get over to the Sinai Peninsula and to Mount Sinai. And there's kind of a common custom over there. The tourists like to either be up at the top of Mount Sinai, or the supposed Mount Sinai anyway, at the top at either sunrise or sunset, because it's kind of magical to see the sun coming up or the sun going down when you're up there. So since I'm kind of a night owl, we decided that we'd do the hiking in the evening so that we could get up there by sunrise. So that's what we did. We drove hours and hours and hours. We hired a driver, and he drove us across to Mount Sinai. So I just packed a backpack. I left all of our stuff in Cairo, and I just brought my pajamas and my hiking boots, and that's about it, because we were just going to sleep somewhere and then start hiking. So in my backpack, so here's my hiking clothes, and in my backpack is my pajamas. And I had read a guidebook, and in the guidebook it said, because of the elevation, Mount Sinai is pretty tall, it said you might want to bring a windbreaker because it might be a little chilly. So that was it. So I did bring a windbreaker. So we start out on our journey. Oh wait, before we start out, I had tennis shoes. These are not tennis shoes, but for the sake of being able to slip them on for the children's story, they're tennis shoes. And I had, like more durable socks. So I took off the stinky socks from the day before. There's a point to all of this, people. Okay, so put my nice socks on. I'm not going to do that right now, but so I'm ready. I'm hiking, walking. And this was before I really enjoyed hiking. I kind of enjoy it now, but back then I didn't. And so we're going along, talking. I'm out of breath. And you have to hire someone to be a guide and to walk with you and show you where to go. So it was me and my friend Evelyn and this guide. And we walked for what I thought was a couple of hours, and certainly we must be there by now, or almost there. And I'm just about ready to give up. Oh, and along the way, there was a merchant following us, and he kept offering us camels. He said, "Miss, you want a camel?" "No, don't want a camel." "Miss, you want a camel?" "No, I don't want a camel." So the whole time, there's this man with 2 camels behind us. And so we're walking, and and then we come to a clearing, and then there is Mount Sinai. We haven't even started. But I'm dying already. And, it's been going up this whole time. And I turn around, I'm like, "Give me that camel." So I introduced myself to the camel. I'm Jane. The camel's name was Mish Mish. So I get on the camel. And then, if any of you have been on a camel, it's like a life and death experience. You're just trying to hang on as it's going like this. And all of your effort is just to hang on. And because I'm short and saddles and stuff never fit me, I didn't have all of the proper fittings of everything. So I'm hugging this camel's neck, But I was very glad because then I didn't have to walk anymore. But for those of you that can read between the lines, if it's dark and the guidebook said that it might get cold and we're getting up higher and higher, what do you think the temperature is like around there? Cold. It was literally freezing. We would come across little water puddles that were frozen. And so now I'm not walking, I'm not exerting any effort. So I'm freezing. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what can I do? What can I put on so that I'm not going to freeze up here on Mount Sinai? So I had my pajamas. So somehow, while I was on the camel, I don't know how I did it, but I put my pajamas on. Ooh. Hold on. Well, maybe for a potty break or something. I don't know. So, that was better. So now I'm not as cold. And I did have a cap with me, a sun hat. So I zipped that all up, and I'm still freezing, but I can't put my hands in my pockets because what am I having to do? I'm having to hang on. So my poor fingers are so cold. So we're going along, and then I remembered, these stinky socks from the day before. Wow, what a blessing. I never thought I'd be so happy for 3-day-old socks, probably. So we're going, and then we finally get near the top, and there were these huts, and they had hot cocoa and hot soup up there. And then we waited until the very last minute, because if you've ever seen like video of like Mongolia and how cold it is and how windy, and that's what it was like. The wind would burn your cheeks. It was so cold. So we waited and until about 20 minutes before the sunrise. And then the last, I think it's 700 feet. They call it the 70 steps of Moses or something. And it's all rocks. And then you get to the top, and we're there, and we're freezing, and then the sun comes up. And the sun peeks up over the horizon. And there was a tour group from Korea there. And they started singing in Korean, "How Great Thou Art." And I tell you, for some of you bigger kids, if you've ever had those moments that it's beyond words, it's just an experience that you have, and you just feel the Holy Spirit and God's love, and it just completely unfolded that whole area, and that the music transcended, very good, transcended language. It was just, we started singing, there was like a Romanian group, and we just started singing, and I just thought, I know it might not necessarily be the actual mountain, but God is everywhere, and I can imagine Moses meeting God there. And anyway, it was just a surreal experience. And then on the way down, the sun came up, and then I was too hot. And then I had to take off all my very expensive hiking gear. And so there's lots of stories, lots of applications to that story. But the one that I like the best is that sometimes things happen in life and we think that they're dirty, stinky socks, those experiences. We don't want to talk about them, we just want to forget about them. But sometimes those things are the things that bring us the biggest blessings and the biggest protections that God wanted for us. And so not to despise our journey along the way, that everything has a purpose. So you can go back to your seats now. Thank you.